Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you guys the wrestling news of the week. If there is a question that is formulating currently in your cerebrum, which is what is the name of the man I'm listening to, I will answer it for you now. My name is Turbo Tony and we're here. He's got his hair slicked back, he's got his guitar, he's going to rock out here. It's Honky Tonk Matt. Right? Yeah.
You're like really digging back into the alumni now.
Oh man, yeah. It's going to be a while till I run out of ideas. Was it episode 54 we're on right now? So
yeah, it must be.
Must be. How are you doing this week, Matt?
Not too bad, buddy. And yourself?
Much better.
A lot better than last week.
A lot better than last week, yeah. I just want to take a quick moment just to say, man, I was actually quite blown back by the response by our listeners and our fans wanting us to get better. I actually listened to, we tried to record last week, for people that maybe not know, and I was incredibly sick to the point I couldn't continue.
Oh yeah, like every 5 minutes or so, just like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So we just call for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't destined to be, I think is probably the best word. But thing is, obviously we released the statement and people were very nice back to us and hoping that we'd get better. Guys, I am 100%, as you can listen to me now. I went and listened to the 30 minutes we managed to record last week. I can safely say it's probably like the worst I've ever podcasted. I'm like, okay, let's talk about wrestling. I was like, trying my best, but oh well.
Gave it a damn good go.
Yeah. But we've got a juicy episode for you guys this week, just to make up for the last week's shenanigans. And yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to get through. There was some big news. CM Punk, I kind of hate him at the moment because he's just giving us loads and loads of fucking news all over the time. But we'll get into the reasons why this isn't random. But we'll get into that in a second. But we've got that in our news, and we've got last week's news, which we're going to carry over, obviously, to this week and talk about a few funny slaters that have been slating. We've got a couple of fan feedbacks actually, with a few interesting questions. We've got the NXT Takeover R Evolution, which I love the show, but I thought the name was fucking stupid. But we've got the review of that anyway on here. R Evolution, who came up with that? What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, because it's. I think it's because do we want it to be revolution or do we want it to be like evolution because we're improving? And it's just like let's just do like R Evolution because then it sounds like it's. What we're involving, so it's our evolution.
It's edgy, that's what it is.
It's something.
Yeah. So we're going to be reviewing that. Spoilers, it was excellent. If you haven't seen it yet and you don't want spoilers, yeah, do not listen to this podcast without watching this. Without watching NXT R Evolution. It was phenomenal. But we'll get into that. We've got our fail of the week. We've got the Slammy Awards review this week. So interesting there. Quite, see how they stack up to our stuff there. And then we've got our predictions for the pay-per-view, which is this weekend, which is Tables, Ladders and Chairs and Stairs.
And Stairs.
And so we'll have our thoughts about that last week. We're not going to obviously review the whole of last week's Raw. The only thing I will state to you is that it was shit. Last week's Raw was bad. So
yeah.
There we go. That's pretty much the review of last week in the can. That's essentially what we were going to be going for. Well, myself anyway.
The long shot of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, without further ado, let's get into that podcast juicy goodness, the audio goodness that I know that you guys are used to here on this channel. CM Punk has inked a new multi-fight deal with the UFC. He announced this at their most recent pay-per-view event. He was there, Dapper, with AJ Lee. And yeah, he announced that he's signed. He's going to be fighting at some point in 2015, which is obviously next year. And man, when I first heard this, there's a few things that we have to talk about this. But before we get into whether we think CM Punk will be a success in UFC, the timing of of the podcast that he did, man, doesn't that make you? To me, I think he definitely did it because he knew he was announcing TLC. UFC. So it got his name back out. You know, Punk's name. Everyone's talking about Punk, and then suddenly he makes the UFC announcement. It's like an explosion of popularity among his name. I don't think that was done by accident. I think that was done for a reason, personally.
Possibly, but I don't think he necessarily needs to sort of put his name back out there for safety's sake.
Yeah. Well, no, I know what you mean, but I mean, everyone was talking about CM Punk, and then he made the announcement. It was like it rolls over.
Just play it smart.
I'm absolutely convinced he decided to do his podcast, with Colt Cabana, because the UFC announcement was coming up. It's great business sense by the guy. I'm not saying that I condemn him for doing this. In fact, I think it's a brilliant move, but that is a part there of the timing of him releasing that podcast. I didn't listen to the second podcast, by the way. It was severely lacking, I thought, in regards to the first one. It was. I
don't think the second podcast had much to add, though.
No, it didn't. It was basically.
It was just chant my name at the people who deserve it. Just don't chant it at my wife.
Which we've been saying all along, of course.
That was pretty much all I got from it.
Yeah. A lot of it is still the same, and he rejected their apology and stuff like that. But it was an hour of them explaining, talking about the first podcast. So I wouldn't say to people go out and search for it, but that's the case that it is there.
It was a podcast of a similar length to explain a podcast of a previous. So it's just like, really.
I really wouldn't recommend it, guys. You're not going to miss much. The first podcast that he did was amazing. We did an entire episode reviewing that podcast. But would we ever be able to do it on the follow-up one that you did? Nah, not really. It'll probably be about 5 minutes long, really. So here we go. Here's the main question I think a lot of people want to know, which we are not qualified, really. So before we begin, we are wrestling podcasters, of an opinion show. We are not UFC. We're not UFC experts. We're not. I don't like to call us WWE experts or wrestling experts, but we know far more about wrestling than we'd ever know about UFC. Yeah. So when we talk about what we think is going to happen with it, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. This is outside of our range. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. First of all, one thing we can say with absolute certainty: this deal is going to make Punk a shit ton of cash. He is going to be a major pay-per-view draw for that company. Yeah. And his first fight is going to make uber business for himself and for everyone around him.
For UFC as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's a masterstroke by Dana White. And a few UFC fans, I've heard that, the consensus is that this guy's going to get his head kicked in. And that's the train of thought I go along. The guy, his body is beaten up. He's not young anymore. Nope. He's got to learn a craft which he doesn't know, and he's going to be going up against people who have been training their lives to get into the UFC.
That's it. I mean, I don't know if you saw it. I did find there was a video of he was having an interview. It was on Fox Sports or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, what ranking are you? It's like, well, everyone's a white belt in life, really. It's like, so you say you're pretty good at it, but you have no ranking in it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get hurt. Like, oh, striking's my weak point. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like, we can't, like, I don't know the ins and outs of you. I watch UFC from time to time, but as you say there, Matt, like, the reason why this, look at it, flip it over, right? You've got someone like Punk who's been working his way. Let's say like someone like Finn Balor, which we'll talk about later on, right? Who in some degree stole the show, right? He is a seasoned veteran wrestler who is making his name in the company. Imagine if he had a wrestling match with a UFC guy who just got into the company and was put against Balor. And who do you really think is going to have really be the most quality wrestler, right? I know it's different, and I know but kind of make that similarity. Punk is coming into an environment that he doesn't know. Now, the thing is here, while I think he'll get his head kicked in, I think he'll win fights, and the reason I think that, I think he'll get put up against scrubs. I really do.
You reckon?
I think he will. I think he'll be put up against people that will want to get beaten because it's a good payday. Now, I don't want to say about this corruption in UFC, but I think that Dana White is intelligent enough in terms of a businessman not to put Punk up against a guy who's climbing up his ranks, knows his stuff. He's more likely going to put him up against a guy who's been losing a lot of matches recently, that's knocked off his confidence, maybe been knocked out a few times at the end of his career. Maybe he's, in his later 40s. There are guys in their later 40s fighting in the UFC still.
Yeah.
And is just not, in a worse state in terms of their body than even Punk is. So it's an easier prospect for him to go against. So he might win a fight, but people are going crazy. The CM Punk fans are going crazy. He's going to invade it. Yeah, CM Punk is not going to he's not going to beat a guy like Conor McGregor, who is a dangerous, bad man in that octagon, who comes from the country I live in. So, a bit biased towards, obviously, Conor McGregor, but regardless of that, right? Regardless of the skill I look at this as a financial plan by Punk, and it's a masterstroke as well, and it's a little bit of a middle finger also to WWE. Would you agree with that?
Oh, we can't get involved with UFC. That's barbaric. Oh, really? Well, I don't think so. So I'm going to go there.
Yeah. And what was it? Vince has always stated that UFC isn't competition. They are competition. They compete for the same demographic. Technically, WWE are in competition with anything that attacks their demographic, and them thinking otherwise is a really dumb move. But obviously, go into this. So, the general thoughts of it, we're going to have more thoughts as stuff goes on. And I think for Punk himself, this is a brand new world for him to learn, and he's not going to half-arse it. We know this. But will he be a success? Is he going to be a champion? Fuck no. Of course he's not.
Nah.
He's not going to be a champion. He's not going to, climb up the rankings. He's going to fight a lot of nobodies. At very least at the beginning,
I do hope he fights the Green Ranger.
Yeah. The one thing I know is that I know someone who's a big UFC fan, and they think this turns UFC into a bit of a circus. That they're bringing people in that aren't really going to be good because they're only just starting, to learn mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
And, they're going to be put on, high profile. CM Punk is going to be the headline act on this show. But does he deserve to be? I'm sure
that's a fair point.
I'm sure Punk, for all the reasons that he was in WWE, hated people coming into the WWE, like The Rock, that were, taking up places even though they weren't there, or maybe they weren't as good.
Yeah, suddenly from out of nowhere, just like top spot's going to him.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. If I was a kick-ass fighter in the UFC and I'm on the undercard to CM Punk, I would be a bit pissed.
I'd be pissed. Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying that, but there we are. But regardless of that, if they've got good business sense, and I know Dana White runs his company a lot better than Vince does in WWE. So these guys will probably get placated and say, well, obviously, you're going to get a lot more money, even if you are on the undercard. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, there we are. In that sense, CM Punk is kind of the Rock of the UFC.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, considering all the words he had against people, in the same...
Just turning up out of nowhere.
Yeah. We'll see how he does when he gets punched in the face for real in the octagon by a guy. Hopefully he gets put up against people that really want to win. And if he gets, I want to see how this guy can really go. But
I can only say one thing. I hope he does better than Batista.
Yeah, Batista. Oh, that was a bit of a joke, that whole run, wasn't it, really? Lashley's isn't that much better. It's kind of a joke. But CM Punk is a headline act. But one of the things I'm going to try and do, I might do an extra. I'm going to try and find... I know one of my friends actually is very much into UFC. I may bring him on the show, interview him about what he thinks is going to happen, like a mini interview. Might be interesting for you guys to think on that front, because this is, like I said, this is outside of our comfort zone. We can't speak too much about it. However, one thing that made myself and Matt laugh to a high degree last week. Apparently, Heath Slater is an abductor. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard this news story. There was an arrest warrant issued. I don't know if anything's been done about it to this point. For a supposed attack by Heath Slater on a waitress 3 years ago.
Social security.
yes, or security or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, they worked for the hotel, right? And apparently he put her in a choke lock and tried to drag her into a lift and damaged her spine. Was it? She said she broke her back or
something like that. Yeah.
So mine and Matt's first reaction, like I said, we did talk about this last week when I was on the brink of
death.
That this is completely bogus. Me and Matt saw this from miles away. This is
BS.
BS.
Straight up BS, yeah.
From the reaction of WWE, from the fact that the story just seems so crazy, and the fact that the amount of times that me and Matt have heard... I mean, we've heard countless stories, and it's not even just in wrestling. It's in sports in general, of false accusations made towards athletes. Now, some of them are true, right? Some of them do happen. Yeah,
but... we're not going as far as to say, like, the sun shines out of their arseholes and they do no wrong.
Yeah. But sometimes you can tell the ones that are legit and the ones that are absolute bonkers bogus, trying to get a payout via making accusations. This reeks of it. So, yeah, this is WWE's reaction to it, I think, is the most telling thing. They didn't state, we will comply with the authorities. It was pretty much like until a more serious... Essentially what they stated was, until a more serious claim is made, we'll bide our time until things...
That's it. Until the lawyers stop laughing.
Yeah, to be honest.
I understand.
Yeah. And Slater's still been around. He's not as if he's hiding anywhere. He was on Raw last week.
That's true.
So... At the end of the day, just it's quite funny, in regards to this. Yeah. Is Heath Slater an abductor of people? Maybe they'll make a movie about that in the future.
That's it.
Maybe
a sex pest.
3MB, during those days, man, they partied hard. For all we know, something might have happened. I'm gonna feel really bad now if this is actually a legit court case. Yeah. And I will apologise.
And found guilty. It's like. Yeah. Oh.
Whoops, yeah. But yeah, that guy's... You can, after a certain amount of time, you can tell the ones that are bogus, and there's just a mix of bogus. So. Talking of what's not bogus, and a guy who may not be returning to WWE is the man of Hollywood at the moment. I would stay even further than The Rock. Batista.
That's true.
His star... in terms of acting, is rising and rising and rising, as we said it would, from the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, which, by the way, fucking rocks. I think we said that on here.
Loved it.
We went to see it together, didn't we? So.
Indeed.
Yes. So, he is set now to have a major role in the new James Bond? James Bond.
The fact that you had it right the first time.
Yeah, and then I fucked it up.
James Bond Blonde.
James Bond flick. It's codenamed Spectre. All right, the movie could be called Spectre, but they do these code names sometimes, leading up to it. They've got Daniel Craig coming back as Bond. He is my favourite Bond. I know that's sacrilege to some people.
No, I can completely agree. I think it might just be because with Daniel Craig and his Bond, it's actually been grittier films.
I loved Skyfall. Did you see Skyfall?
I did see Skyfall. I'm more of a Casino Royale person.
I see. I know a lot of people do go that way, but I thought Skyfall was excellent. I really did. I thought it was a great character development of the relationship. But we are a wrestling podcast, so what are we talking about this for? But Batista, he's got a role, and it's confirmed that he's got it. And for what the rumours are, is that he's not the main villain. He's the main villain's henchman, who will be featured very prominently. He's not going to be a guy that just fights Bond.
New Jaws.
Yeah, but obviously with a bit more to it, This is a major role for Batista, and one that I think cements our opinion that it's extremely unlikely you're going to see Batista in a squared circle anytime in the future.
That's it.
If he keeps getting roles like this, guys, he ain't coming back. And why would he want to either? That's what I would state. I mean, look at it from his point of view. I came back. I didn't get really what I wanted because they kind of misbooked me. He said that he wanted to come back as a heel because he knew he would be booed. But they booked him wrong, and then eventually they had to change it.
Yeah, and eventually he just had to be heel anyway.
Yeah, he was essentially jobbed out for a lot of his run. He lost match after match after match after match, except for winning the Royal Rumble, of course. But And then, that's extra damage to his body. He's not young anymore, Batista. In fact, the thing about Batista...
He wasn't even young at his debut.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He wasn't a spring chicken when he was Deacon Batista, you know what I mean? So, when he got into the prime of his career, the time was already ticking for Batista, so that's the problem there. So, yeah, he can go do these movies, less stress on the body, more time off, more money, maybe, that he maybe get offered, especially on these high-profile stuff like this. And like I said, this is a big role for him. It really is. And he's got a recurring role on Guardians. Like, he's going to keep getting that role on Guardians. So
that's it.
There we are. Fan feedback, Matt. Fan feedback. I know you're interested in this. We've got a few interesting questions while we were AWOL last week.
Yep.
Two questions here that I picked out. Man, Ricky Tobacco, and I'll get better at that every single time. I feel like, I'm a master.
You're getting there.
No, I'm not even getting there. I'm there now. I'm there now. He said that if we heard Ryback's quick 3-minute shoot on Punk, I did. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you heard it as well.
I think I read it somewhere.
Okay. I did listen to it, and it was on like a radio show. It wasn't like on a podcast or anything. And they just asked him a question, and he responded back. I thought it was a very professional reply by Ryback. I thought it was a good reply. I thought to be honest, I thought it was quite a respectful, reply back to the entire CM Punk situation. The one thing I would state about that, though, and I do praise Ryback for the way he handled it. I thought it was very good. You can't really call it a shoot because he was very calm and composed and a very professional reply.
Yeah.
If he wasn't under a WWE contract, man, that would have been a lot different.
I would have been a lot different.
Yeah, he would have gone not ballistic, but there would have been a few expletives in there, you can guarantee, and you would have gone on a little bit more about it. But you probably find when the whole CM Punk stuff, Triple H probably, or maybe Vince, took him aside and said, look, don't be exasperating this any further.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, essentially. Just say what we say, what you need to, and get out of the conversation, sort of thing. So, yeah, I see that. That's the kind of the point. But, as I said before, on this podcast, we're probably one of the only few podcasts or shows that try to look at the whole situation from Ryback's point of view. So you can go back and listen to our thoughts on that if you'd like to. I thought it was quite a good episode. I listened to that episode today, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought it was a good one, Bryce. Good.
I bet.
Not to blow our own trumpet, of course, but there we are. Caleb Duckworth asks us what entrance theme we would have. What would you have, Matt? I've picked mine out.
Do you know the worst thing I didn't think about? I was like, that was a really good question, and I haven't put any thought into it.
Well, we've created wrestlers on wrestling games before. You had, what is it? The End of Heartache.
End of Heartache by Killswitch Engage, yeah.
But would you go with that? I think that may be a bit too heavy, wouldn't it?
Probably. I mean, the thing is, the last gimmick that I've personally went with was like a Crusader, sort of like a sort of Holy Crusade sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had it's called Koyanis Casti. Now, you probably know it from Scrubs as the song that plays when they glare at people.
Oh, okay.
That's sort of like the organs and chanting and that. It was that.
Oh, okay. So, were you a face or a heel?
Heel.
Heel. Oh, okay. My one is I didn't think if I was a face. Funny enough, I went heel as well.
Yeah.
There's a song, and you know it, Matt, because we're big fans, called "The Things I've Seen" by Mark Tremonti. And I thought if that song is cut up really well, and you had a very slow heel entrance, Randy Orton-esque, but not quite as annoying, you listen to that song, and you can kind of get where I'm going with that. I think that could be a really cool heel. Yeah, it wouldn't work as a face tune because it's too slow and it's too, it just doesn't have that face sort of bump to it. I think Sami Zayn's theme is a perfect face theme.
Yeah, definitely.
But this one, it has to be slow and it's like a proper heel one and everything like this. And so yeah, go listen. I don't even know, how would you type the one you'll pick there? That's like crazy, but anyway. And the things I've seen by Mark Tremonti, go listen to it. It's a great song anyway. But I would cut it up, with WWE,
Mix it up a bit.
like they did with Edge's Alter Bridge
Metal
entrance.
English,
Yeah,
yeah.
they cut that up, and to make it work better, and that's fine. Yeah, that was a cool question. Actually, I really like that.
I did like that. Yeah.
That was cool. NXT review. NXT Takeover R Evolution. Like I said, don't like the name, but the show was excellent. So we're going to go through some of the major talking points. I will state, however, this show I equate to being like a big juicy steak. Okay. The good thing about a big juicy steak, you can't eat that fucker in one bite. So it's excellent after each and every single little bite.
The whole way through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cooked to perfection. This is what wrestling is. I think is probably the biggest thing here. And again, the NXT guys have put a marker of which the main roster has to answer.
That's the one thing I quite like, is the fact that I've recently seen a thing where it's just like, we can't be let down. We can't be shown up by the NXT guys. So I'm kind of expecting some good things at TLC.
Yeah. Well, one of the good things about the NXT shows being so good is that sometimes when they're that good, the specials, the actual pay-per-views afterwards, if they've got a bad card, often me and Matt have been surprised because they pull out the stops. It's almost like we can't be outdone. And hopefully that happens because, man, the NXT guys did a humdinger of a show, I like to call it. Humdinger. Say it, Matt. Humdinger.
Humdinger.
Humdinger of a show. This was an awesome show. And like I said, if you can only watch 2 hours of wrestling this week, categorically is NXT. There is no over any wrestling show out there. It doesn't matter if it's New Japan, doesn't matter if it's TNA, doesn't matter if it's WWE on their main roster, doesn't matter if it's ROH. NXT. This is where it's at, guys. This was awesome.
Definitely.
Right? I cannot stop raving about this show. But anyway, let's go into it. We've got a few talking points here. I might have missed a few, but I know you just got finished watching it there, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
So the opening match is the debut of Kevin Owens, formerly known as Kevin Steen. Big pop for this guy. And he also got his nose popped by CJ Parker, who was wrestling with here, unfortunately. So basically what happened here, it was a decent enough match. I thought it was right. I thought Owens, had a good account of himself here in the debut. But Parker went for a sumo palm strike?
Yeah, it was a palm strike, yeah.
And it connected really fucking hard. And it busted
Split it.
Yeah.
Do you know, actually, it connected so hard it actually split Parker's palm as well.
Yeah. Jesus
I read
Christ.
that and I was just like, wow.
Yeah. And
that's some force.
I mean, the blood was everywhere. Like, it was pretty damn bad. But he continued on. But this isn't the first time someone like Kevin Owens has been busted open or has had something bad happen and had to continue a match. So, yeah, kudos to him. He's still put on an exemplary match, even though.
The fact that it's like, we weren't even 5 minutes into the event and already we had a holy shit and this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gave a great account of himself here in the debut, and from what we saw later on in the show, this guy is going to be a huge vocal point of the show going forward. And fair enough. Why not? Considering who it looks like he's going to be working with. Yeah, we might be getting another juicy steak, ladies and gentlemen, in the future.
That's it.
Can I just state here, going forward, Baron Corbin, I love the presentation of this guy. I like his entrance. I like his look. The only problem is we haven't seen him yet in a match. I mean, the crowd are literally chanting through the seconds of the match, and it got less than a minute. Finishes the match, and then stare downs.
I think it's 22 seconds is his record.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Corbin?
I want more.
Yeah.
And I don't want like more as in like I want to see him crush people. Like I quite like the fact that after his match he squared off with Bull Dempsey, and I was like, now that's someone you cannot beat in 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sort of thinking like now as a result it will bring the best out of the pair of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like even Bull Dempsey like sort of he squashed Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, he did
it. He did at the last
special, didn't he? Yeah. So yeah, this is obviously one guy that they're building up. Like I said, I adore his entrance. I think it's brilliant. I really love the way that he did
Like
it.
the Sons of Anarchy sort of.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
And like I said, the presentation's good. The only issue here being is the fact, as you say, that he is untested. And I think that is
Yeah.
one of the issues here. And, you know, you can be untested for a while. You can have these squash matches. I've got absolutely no problem with people having squash matches. But there has to come a point where you have to see what else this guy has got. You know? So when he does square off against a guy like Sami Zayn, can he hold out for the level of a match that a guy like Sami Zayn can have?
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet. He's an unknown entity. I would state he doesn't. That's the reason why they're booking him this way. But like I said, that's okay. That's why he's in NXT. But
Yeah.
there has to you can only go, even in NXT. You can't keep just squashing. You have to have a solid match. And as you say there, Matt, I'd be extremely shocked if he squashes Dempsey in that fashion. You know.
That's it.
So no, that was alright. Here we go. Hideo Itami and Finn Balor against the Ascension. We stated before, first of all, before we talk about the entrance, right, that it was the best idea for everyone involved that Balor did not use his paint unless it was a special occasion.
Yeah.
They built it up that he was going to use it.
It's the fact it's like, I will bring something that you have never seen before.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh!
Yeah. Round of applause for Mr. Balor. Fuck me, the paint job was brilliant here.
I was actually chanting, like, Hideo Itami made his entrance, and then suddenly it all went dark, and I was like, please have paint, please have paint, please have paint. I was genuinely sat in my car chanting it to myself.
Yeah. The way that the entrance was, and the way that it got the fans reacted, I know it's on a much smaller scale, but this has to fight with Triple H for entrance of the year.
Yeah.
You know, Triple H had a badass entrance at WrestleMania this year. And Jesus Christ, this was good. This was really good.
Amazing, like goosebumps entrance.
Yeah, enthralling. Like, you couldn't take your eyes off the screen of what this guy was going to do. And I loved Connor's reaction. He had the reaction of like, what the fuck am I looking at right now?
It was definitely like,
Yeah. So they sold it brilliantly. The one thing I'm a little bit worried about, though, is that the news on the grapevine is that now he's going to be using that paint every single match. I think that is a massive mistake.
No.
I think you
mix it up.
Yeah. Like, listen, when this guy gets called up to the main roster, he's going to be on a pay-per-view every 3 to 4 weeks. That's fine, you know, to have it. That, believe me, people will be interested to see what this guy is going to cover himself with. And he can do some pretty good stuff. He could even do, you know, the stuff he's got on now. That's fine, you know. But just keep it for the pay-per-views, because otherwise, I promise you,
yeah,
you'll burn it out. It's something special. Just don't go there.
The thing I like is the fact that whilst going under Devitt, like we've mentioned this before, like how he sort of does sort of almost social ones, not social, but like cult, sort of some cult ones and things like that. So he's done
like pop culture,
pop culture. That's the word. Like, he's come out as the Joker, and he's even come out as Hannibal Lecter, like, all strapped up, like someone actually wheeled him to the ring.
Yeah.
And unstrapped him and things like that. So it's just like, for things like that, yeah, make it an event. But I wouldn't do every pay-per-view. I
would do it.
If he came out to the main roster, I'd love to see it. But
yeah,
like, it was a shock.
No, the way I would do his paint. If you're on a TV show, no paint. Doesn't matter what show it is. It doesn't even matter if it's a Slammies or anything along those lines. Has to be a pay-per-view. And when it has a pay-per-view, your normal one is the paint that he had at the show last week. He should have that. You know, I'm not saying new paint every month. I'm saying that he should just paint himself up for the pay-per-views. Yeah. But on the big four, then you do something different. Then you do something just a little bit. And all it has to be is just changing up the colours, changing up the design a little bit. How awesome is it that Goldust just changed the design on his face paint? It made him something really unique and new. And,
with the flames.
That's it. So, but that's my worry with it, that they're going to keep doing it. And, man, that must take a long time to apply, because that is really intricate stuff that he's doing there. But yeah, big props to Balor. If it wasn't for the Zayn Adrian Neville match being as good, he would be the only thing that would be talked about here because of how awesome it was.
Yeah.
The one thing I will state here though, Matt, everyone's praising Balor. which leaves Itami in the man's shadow.
I know!
Isn't it?
Which really kind of sucks, because Itami was really good.
He was good, but I think the issue here is, as long as he's paired up with the likes of... I'm sorry guys, for big fans of Hideo Itami. We are as well, but you put him up against a guy that's willing to do that and have that much of an impact, he won't stand out. I still haven't seen... I mean, he had a great moment in this match where he looked like he was going for the GTS and everyone fucking erupted, but then he got stopped. I'd just say give him the move back. It's not as if like it's not as if the fans that would boo him for doing that wouldn't know. Wait a minute, Punk actually took the move from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have an issue with him. I mean, he did the flying knee that Daniel Bryan took from him as well. So I've got no issue with him taking back his moves. Especially for a guy that's not on the roster anymore, but still. Ascension have gone up to the main roster. You watched the promo, the vignette, the small vignette that they did, and we're a bit critical of it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Obviously, I want you guys to, fans, to go look at it yourself, see what you think. But I think the word is that it seems a little bit too Mad Maxy for our liking.
Yeah. Mad Maxy, Road Warrior. It's all a bit much.
Yeah. I hope that they don't overdo it. I really don't, because it's all out to them to stand out, but people are going to make that. How much did the Goldberg chants just suck for Ryback all those times? You can have Legion of Doom, I mean, there's worse things to have chanted at you than Legion of Doom, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, but yeah, it does reek of that a little bit. We'll hold our opinions as always until they actually debut. And hopefully they don't debut on SmackDown, because that would be really gutting. But the tag team division...
better debut on Raw.
Yeah, they better debut. But the tag division needs the Ascension at the moment.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think Hunter would let them debut on SmackDown.
No. He's hot on all the NXT guys, isn't he? So.
Well, NXT's his baby, so I don't think he's going to let anyone dick with it.
That's it. So, this match is well worth seeing. There is good wrestling to be had here. But man, that entrance... Yeah, there's strong competition for entrance of the year there from Triple H. And I'll tell you what, if it was on a grander scale, imagine him doing that at a WrestleMania. Could you imagine the response? Oh. Jesus. Woo!
Just thinking about it. It's just...
Talk about humdingers on this show. Woo! I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully this guy can get
I've made sex thinking about it.
Just Matt's orgasm voice. Suddenly there's the intro. Oh, below. Right. So we're going down a shameless pay-per-view plot here. Let's continue forward. There's two things that you can always expect from an NXT special. You can expect a kick-ass female wrestling match.
Yeah, you can.
Which we got. And you can expect a absolute classic of a main event match. Which we got.
Yeah.
So they're the two next matches. So Charlotte against Sasha Banks. We know what Charlotte can do. I am a huge advocate for her. I think she conducts herself like a champion. I think that she has skills and capabilities that a lot of the roster
just
don't have.
Which is a little bit mixed as to what happened on Raw, but...
Yeah, well, obviously we'll get into that because I'm pissed about that. But let's talk about this first,
Yeah.
I don't know much about Sasha Banks. I've obviously seen her, but I don't know how good she was in the ring. And it was a little bit like Bayley, that we know she's good, but just how good is she? Is she NXT?
Yeah, that's it.
NXT special good? Is she that good? She's that good.
Sasha Banks? Yeah.
She gave as good as she got in this match. Charlotte did get the win, but these girls did exemplary. Sometimes it's hard to live up to the hype, especially when you look at the matches that have been done before it. You got Paige and Emma, which was out of this world. You had Charlotte against Natalya, which was just stupidly good.
The NXT one, not the Raw one.
Yeah, of course, the NXT one. And then this one, it stands up along those, So fair play to both these girls. It is unfortunate, and it makes me sad whenever I watch a great match like this. I'm just like, oh, awesome, and then I realise, really, we're going to have to wait until the next NXT special to get a great women's match out of this company.
Yeah.
That is really sad. But anyway, it's still great.
Yeah.
It's still good. However, the best match of the night, with arguably...
Rightfully so.
with arguably two of the best wrestlers on the card. Arguably, because obviously you got Hideo Itami and Balor, which are obviously massive in their own right. But Sami Zayn against Adrian Neville. The main event that I thought was built up superbly and booked very well. Delivered on every single front. It was superb.
Amazing.
I would go down to state that this has to be considered. I still say that Shield against the Whites was the best match of the year, even over this, right? But in terms of singles matches, this has to be addressed as possibly the best of the year.
Yeah.
It was that good. And it was a delight to watch. I wish I could say that about everything that we watch on this show each week. Often circumstances dictate.
Just so many moments where just like watching it is like it was edge of the seat.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, these guys delivered. They really did. And they gave us some new stuff. I mean, these guys have wrestled each other before for the title. So technically, you know, it could have been a lot of, oh, we've already seen all this, guys. But it wasn't. It was fantastic. And it really had that feeling towards the last blows of this match that you were just like, come on, you've got to win, And I knew he was going to win because obviously he isn't going to put his career on the line and lose. I knew that Sami Zayn was going to win. It was easy to predict.
Yeah.
But it's also along those lines that WWE needs to learn a lesson from NXT. That even though it's predictable, sometimes just give us what we want. You know, it's not hard. Fans, we wanted Sami Zayn to become champion. You did the perfect storyline. You gave us a perfect match. How much would that have stung if they had like a fuck finish at the end of that match? Wouldn't that really have stung? Right?
That would have been a riot.
Yeah.
Like a genuine riot because the crowd was so behind it.
Exactly. Sometimes, like Daniel Bryan, it's just good to give the fans what they want. You know?
Yeah.
It's not hard to do. You know, fair enough. The NXT made us want it, and that's a success by them. You know, I wanted Sami Zayn to win this more than I've wanted anything on the main roster for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they did a good job on this, and I got to tell you, this was Sami Zayn's moment. He won the belt, but I think of this also as a great send-off for Neville to go to the main roster. A great send-off. He is coming up to the main roster. He'd probably stay on NXT maybe for a little while longer, but he's going to be on there in the next couple of months, I'd state.
No, that's it. I just loved it. I just like having a quick flick through some pictures, and it's just like a picture of Triple H with like everyone like from it, and it's just like, are you not sports entertained?
No.
It's like actually to get to on a sort of like as a highlight for it. Did you see the tweet that Triple H sent out after the NXT takeover?
Yeah, I'm all out of brass rings.
Yeah, has anyone got any spare brass rings? I'm all out. I was like,
man.
loved it.
We said, obviously, you said there before that NXT is his baby. He must be patting that baby on the head and going, "I am very proud of what you've done."
That's it.
Jesus Christ. So at the end of the show, however, which I think I love this, I really did, because they gave you know, Zayn a lot of time to celebrate, and I love the fact they did. They gave him a lot of time to have his moment, but they didn't end it there. Just as he's leaving the ring, Owens comes back out, is his friend, and congratulates him again.
You know, they've had a lot of history.
Yeah, exactly. The guy's still bleeding. You know.
Obviously for everyone, just like El Generico. Yeah,
Generico against Steen. We've seen that before, you know. He congratulates him, and just as they're about to walk off, he's like, "Well, actually, no, I don't. I'm not
now to make my statement."
Yeah, now I'm taking over. This
is
in his words. This is where I change everything.
Yeah,
and he basically slams Sammy onto the ground. You think, okay, you could leave it there. You've made a statement. Nope. He power bombs him into the apron, it looked dirty to the point that, man, I really thought that. The way they were selling it and the way that the impact was, I thought William Regal was going to slap the guy and just be like, "Get the fuck out of this arena," you know.
That's it.
And it's leads you, and you know, you maybe some people think, he didn't get his moment. He did get his moment. You know, Sami Zayn, he had a great celebration. But think about where this leads to now. We're going to get a Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens NXT Championship title match. Whew!
Because we've still got to have Neville in there for his rematch.
Oh yeah, they'll probably have a rematch. I'm saying for the next special, that's what we're going to have. Yeah. Guys, that is going to be something fucking special. I'm telling you right now. When they signed Itami and Balor, and they signed Owens, and then you've got the likes of, we know they've worked with Sami Zayn and a few other people. You know, it's just like, all the stuff they could do, and this is just the start of it, man. This is just the start. Whew. So go on, how would you rate this, Matt? Worth watching, or is it?
If you don't watch it, you don't love wrestling.
It was.
I'm sorry.
It was so good, man. I love saying that about.
Especially considering the amount of times we had a "This is wrestling" chant.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just so superb, so superb.
Like, just "This is wrestling." This is awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just everything about this was so good.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole show was on fire, which, funny enough, leads us to our fail of the week. Do you like this segue?
From the high spots to the lows.
All right. Because this fail of the week involves flames and fire. And pyrotechnics going wrong. With a certain man that you would not want to get your pyrotechnics wrong against, because I would not want to get on his bad side. He goes by the name of The Undertaker. Okay?
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber 2010. The Undertaker is the World Heavyweight Champion, and he's going in to defend it. He would ultimately lose against Chris Jericho, and this leads up to the second Shawn Michaels Undertaker match. That's the landscape of WWE that we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're not recycling all these fail of the weeks from last week. Even though that was a scrapped episode, we're actually doing a different fail of the week this week because I want it all to be fresh. So you guys are getting all fresh stuff here. We decided to go all out.
That's it, all new.
All new. So Chris Jericho walks off with the belt, but however, something happened before the match even began, and basically what happened is that the Undertaker is walking out to his entrance. The pyrotechnics guy fucks it up and doesn't decide to, obviously by his ineptitude, douses the Undertaker in flame.
That's it.
When I say,
I'm just going to set fire to the dead man.
Yeah, and like literally his trench coat was on fire, to the point that he had to rip off his trench coat and run to the ring because he had burns on his body.
Yeah.
So, massive fail here by the pyrotechnics guy. Undertaker, when he was in the pod, was being handed bottles of water so he could just cool himself down. He wasn't just like, oh man, this is a little bit hot. He was burnt, and he continued with the match. This guy, Undertaker's tough, man. He really is. He's one of these old school guys that, oh, I'm a little bit hurt, doesn't matter.
Troop up.
Just continue with the match. However, apparently the words were stated after the match. After the match, when the show ended, fans were stating that the Undertaker he didn't just walk out. He went up the ramp and then looked for the pyrotechnics guy. He wanted to batter the crap out of him for burning him. And I've got no issue with the Undertaker doing that. No. Do your job, man. You know? He burned him!
Literally just set fire to him, yeah.
Set fire to the Undertaker, man. You can't do that. I'm pretty sure that he got fired. I can't see any confirmation of the guy who involved, or maybe the team involved, losing their job. But they should have done. There's no excuse for it. I mean, when you're working with stuff like that, I mean, it could have easily got worse. That's the issue. I mean, it was bad anyway. It could have got worse. Apparently, what was said, Undertaker said, you better fire him, or this is from Jericho's book, I believe, that I've got this quote from. You better fire him because if I see him, I'm going to kill him. So I imagine he did get fired.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Was that in it? Which book was that in?
I think the new one, actually.
His latest one?
His latest one, yeah.
I haven't got it yet. I really want to get it.
Yeah, I've heard excerpts from it, and stuff like that, because he does it on his podcast and Jericho's books.
Yeah.
I'll be giving that a good read soon. So the funny thing about it is obviously the fail, and not funny for the Undertaker because he got burnt, but that wasn't the only fail. There was huge problems with the actual chamber itself, with the pods not working. And there was pods just not flat out working. Wouldn't open, wouldn't close at certain times. So yeah, the match itself was okay, but man, considering all that,
it did break a little bit.
if I were the pyrotechnics guy and I just set the Undertaker on fire, I would not wait until after he's finished the match to stick around. I'd be in the taxi getting a fucking plane.
Yeah,
I would not want to be close to. Yeah. Oh man. Oh,
Like, but I live on the complete other side of the country. That's fine. I am driving that shit.
Just get me home. I'm just gonna just get the fuck out of here, man. It's just crazy, but yeah. And I wouldn't have had any issue with the Undertaker going back and battering the 7 shades of shit out of the guy. I really wouldn't, because like I said, it could have got worse. Like he could have been killed. You really like. I know you may think, wow, that's a little bit of it could have happened. You know, you get these things wrong. I mean, it's fucking pyrotechnics. Like, you know, it's not fake fire. You know, that's just stupid. It's fucking fire that's getting fired up. You know, but... What a troop, by the way. He was legitimately burned and actually continued the match, taking bumps. He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. He gets props from us. Anyway, the Slammy Awards. Here we go. So this is also the go home show to TLC. It's been quite a short month. Only 3 episodes of Raw between pay-per-views this month. So only one mid-monther, which was last week, which we missed, which was bad. If you remember the episode that we reviewed beforehand, we also stated was also really fucking bad. We stated, I think that was the words, really fucking bad, didn't we?
Yeah.
We disliked it. So we disliked 2 weeks ago. We disliked a week ago. Could this complete the trifecta? Could this be the 3rd Raw that was horrific in a row?
That's it.
The one
Do you know what the worst part is?
Go on.
I have no memory of Raw.
NXT burned out.
NXT just completely took it over. Like, Seth Green was there, I remember that much, and it was the Slammies.
Well, that's why I do extensive...
And I wasn't too happy with some of them.
Yeah. So, first of all, obviously we'll review the shows and go ahead. But as you said there, Seth Green was the host. We're a bit partial to Seth Green. We're big fans of his work. So, you know, we're a little bit less... You know, we've got like Larry the Cable Guy, you know, so... Cable Guy! But this... They had a chance here with this show to prove to myself and to Matt that their Slammy Awards aren't a farce. They did not take that opportunity.
No.
It was a farce. Anyone thinking that them voting on the apps made a difference, you're a little bit dumb.
No.
And we'll go into the reasons why that isn't the case. The one thing I would state here is that this is one of the only shows of the year that I give a pass for them not having a lot of in-ring content. It's got the makings of a clip show, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I am. You know, it's a little bit different. At the end of the year, it should be like a proper award show. I've got no issue with not having as much. So we might be giving
it makes sense. Like, one of the last shows of the year, better have a best of.
It should at the very least have a good main event, but we'll go into that later. But I'd be okay. I mean, it's 3 hours, so they should at least have some good wrestling. But I mean, even when it's not a Slammy Awards, they don't tend to do that. But we'll go into it. King opens the show, suitably looking like the king, you know, with his suit, looking all dapper.
I quite like how he didn't have a bow tie, but a little crown.
Oh yes, you know, I like how he gets all dressed up. And I got to say here that him coming out and opening the show in this fashion, I was just like, man, this is just something different. I immediately like this opening far more than what they've done the last couple of weeks, so that's okay. He brings out Seth Green and reminds us that the fans have the power to call the winners. And there'll be multiple times that I call bullshit on that. But
yeah.
There we go. The Miz then comes out and vows for a position on Seth Green's next project. Does Miz not get any work? He's trying to get work off of, like, Grumpy Cat. He's now trying to get work off Seth Green. Surely. If he's got, like, an agent to send Naomi to, surely the guy should be getting some work.
That's it. If he's credible enough that he can send work away.
Yeah, come on, you know. Maybe he's just networking, is the word, you know.
That's it.
And one thing I will say, though, as Miz and Mizdow were standing next to him and talking to him, and even King to some response, I just realised how tiny of a man Seth Green actually is.
I know. I was like, oh, bless him.
He is tiny. How big is he? I think he said it on the like 5'3" or something like that. He's just absolutely
something
tiny.
like that, yeah.
But when he later on he's standing next to, like, you know, not exactly Giants event, but they look like it, you know.
Like, so there's a bit where he's like he got picked up by the Usos, and I'm just like, wow.
Even the Usos are like a foot higher than this guy, you know. But still. Seth says, I actually want Mizdow in my next project, because people actually like Mizdow, you know.
Of course.
And then they show the nominees for the This Is Awesome Moment of the Year, and then obviously they're going to announce that later on. Ziggler against Rollins opens the show. Woo! When you put those two names in the ring, 5-star potential is there.
It's got potential. Got potential.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't a 5-star match, but I thought it was enjoyable. I enjoyed this match. Nothing too memorable, but it was enjoyable. You know, it was okay.
I've seen worse matches.
Yeah. I mean, come on, you got Ziggler and Rollins in the ring.
That's it.
It should be a cell fest. Those guys should be bouncing like pinballs in the ring. You know,
That's it. No throws, no strikes. They're just selling.
Yeah, they're not actually slamming each other. They're just trying to outsell each other until you know one of them. Rollins gets the victory off of a Joey Mercury distraction, and first of all, I like this finish because it was a distraction and it wasn't a roll-up pin. And I was like, finally, fucking hell! And it was a good heel way to win the match for Rollins.
Definitely.
I'm going to accept anything that isn't a roll-up. You know, it's okay to get a clean pinfall. You know, if you do a move with a guy distracted, still a heel victory. So I've got no issue with that. Our Superstar of the Year waving the flag for us as well.
That's it.
Sting is then announced as the winner of the This Is Awesome award. Fair enough. I've got no issue with that. But I think it's hilarious how much choice the fans have, yet Rollins has a perfectly prepared speech on his way back up from the ring about Sting. So, yeah, man, that would have been awkward if someone else had been voted in, you know. But,
yeah,
like I said...
gee, what would they have done?
Like I said, I call bullshit on that. You know, obviously, we know that they pre-picked it to fit in with their show, but there we are. Apparently, he takes the award on Sting's behalf. He says that he deserves it, and I want to say to Seth here, don't worry, it's just as slammy. They don't need that much. You got our Let's Talk Wrestling Wrestler of the Year award. It's much more prestigious. So don't worry, Seth. You don't have to go nicking under people's awards. Okay, you've already got Wrestler of the Year.
You already racked up loads.
Mm-hmm. So, well, yeah, he was part of our Match of the Year. I almost got him Moment of the Year, but you got me on that, and then Rest of the Year. He cleaned house on our awards show on the last episode.
He cleaned house on the Slammies.
Yeah, he did good on that as well. Yeah, been a good year for him.
I can't believe it. I was just like, and he won this one.
Yeah,
cool. And he won that one. Oh.
So here's another thing about the awards. They show some of the winners of the Slammies before Raw and they went on the pre-show and stuff like that. They air some of the awards and stuff. And the fact that Tag Team of the Year and Breakout Star can't make the main show is just another shot at the actual show in general. You know, if it was a proper award show, those would be two of the most important ones.
Yeah, definitely.
They're not, obviously. To WWE. Here we go. We get to talk about New Day. Here we go.
New Day!
Oh, God, it's bad day.
New Day!
So, Kofi Kingston against Stardust.
New Day! That's pretty much the extent of their entrance.
That is incredibly annoying already, I have to say. Now, you tried to convince me, Matt, before.
I have something else that I can use. New Day! I know it bugs you.
It fucking annoys me to know it. Okay. Right, so you were trying to convince me, and during the week we were talking, and you're trying to convince me, they're actually kind of getting over. And I argued with you
Yeah, shut up.
Okay, so you've gone against her now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm completely.
I thought it would,
No, go away. I think it was just like, yay, go away.
It's gonna go. Oh, I love him a chant. It's just New Day, go away. New Day. I love him. That actually started with the crowd, but still. So yeah, they're a little bit over now, and people are shouting back to them, and the only reason is because they're new. Fandango got over because he was new, right?
Truth occasionally gets a what's up.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean anything, guys. I still stand by the fact that they're going to get absolutely nowhere, especially if they stay as a face. If these guys don't go heel, they are dead.
Apparently, like, they're building them up to just turn into some massive heel turn.
Well, they have to go heel. If they stay face, they ain't going anywhere.
Sickeningly baby face to then into heels.
Yeah. Like, I promise you right now, if they don't go heel and they stay face, these guys will not be on the show for much longer. It's already getting old. Like I said, as you say there, the whole New Day stuff, I'm fucking sick of it already. I really am.
New Day? It's like, oh, New Day.
This match was forgettable. I think is probably the word for it. Kofi gets the win with a crossbody, and the crowd didn't give that much of a fuck, to be honest.
That's it. It's like Kofi wins with a crossbody. It's such a mediocre finish.
I haven't seen someone beaten by a crossbody in a while, to be honest. But
That's it.
as you say there, Matt, as Matt was shouting "New Day," that's what Kofi. Well, not that's what Big E and Xavier Woods were shouting out, and it got old really quick. I'm just saying to you right now, guys, this ain't gonna work. And I reckon if they go heel, I still think it won't work. They'll just have a little bit more longevity. This faction ain't gonna work. I'm just saying that. And I do want it to work. As people know, I'm not a fan of Kofi Kingston. I think he's a waste on the roster. I don't think he's got any charisma whatsoever. And this change in what he's doing now, I don't think he's done anything in terms of improving said charisma, right? It looks the most awkward out of the three still. Big E, I think, has got a big future. Xavier Woods, I think, has got more of a future as a manager rather than in-ring talent. But that's something else to go into at a later date. I want these guys to get successful, but it just ain't going to work. It just doesn't work. Just saying now. It ain't going to work. It's going to get old really quick. They're going to be fighting Stardust and Goldust at the pay-per-view because apparently
Pre-show.
Why not? Yeah, at the pre-show no less. So, and we said before them debuting on SmackDown, them getting beaten in their debut match. You know, they had that tag team turmoil.
Beaten?
They had a tag team turmoil on Raw. And
you mentioned that. That was a damn gauntlet match.
Yeah, it's still a loss. I still count
It's
it
a
as a
tag
loss.
team turmoil. No, it's a gauntlet match.
Yeah, I still count it as a loss.
Oh yeah, it was a loss.
Yeah, but
It was a gauntlet. Oh,
stop defending the New Day, Matt. They ain't getting anywhere, okay?
couldn't
New
believe
Day.
it. New Day.
It's so fucking annoying, man. Tell you annoying. Johnny Ace returns to host the Slammy, or as Matt likes to call him, John Laryngitis. Man, when you first told me that, I laughed, man.
It's like, without the authority, maybe it's time for people power. Go away, Johnny. No, it is not time for people power.
It reminded me of how bad he was at promos. Was it? He would stutter away from his words. He'd keep his mic too low so you couldn't hear him. Just the amount of issues that guy had taking promos. He wasn't. At least with Mike Damley, he was an idiot, but at least you could hear him, right?
Yeah.
There's one thing going for him, at least. But
when will they want people power? We do not want people power. Go away.
yeah, John Laryngitis. Oh, dear. So they showed the nominees for Surprise Return of the Year. Here's the funny thing, right?
None of these were a surprise.
There was only one. The Rock. I remember that when we said that The Rock came back at that Rusev Lana bit, that was a genuine shock. We weren't expecting him to really be there, right? However, Batista, Hogan, and Ultimate Warrior were all advertised before they made their returns. They are not a surprise, you know. So there we are. And then the Warrior won the award, which is a nice moment. I kind of hoped a little bit. And like, this is no slam towards her or anything along these lines. You know, obviously it's down to her. But I thought it would have been a really nice moment if maybe his wife could have accepted the award on his behalf.
Yeah.
And then come out. I imagine that would have been a real moment. I reckon the fans would have taken to her and really given her a round of applause. And
Yeah, I think just anything would have worked rather than just like Ultimate Warrior. And
yeah. Now, obviously, at the same time, that maybe, you know, while she likes the, you know, while it's comforting to have the support of the wrestling fans, maybe, you know, because the fact is he was away from WWE for that long, he comes in WWE and he dies, maybe, that, you know, there's a little bit of apprehension there for her to get anywhere near involved with the company, and I completely understand that. Whatever makes her most comfortable. I just thought it would have been a really nice moment, but obviously it's down to herself, but I hope, obviously, still now, I hope their family's getting on, you know, from the tragedy. All I can think of with the Warrior thing, and that makes me most sad, we said this back, so many months ago now, back after WrestleMania, is that the two people I'm most sad of is his two girls.
That's it, yeah.
In our situation. As a dad of two girls myself, man, I would not want to leave them behind, so that's the most sad thing of all. Backstage, Rollins is gloating on his win. He's quite happy with J&J Security. And he sees Paul Heyman eyeing him up. He's backstage doing his thing, picking up awards on Brock Lesnar's behalf. I don't think Lesnar got an award, did he? Oh, he did. He got one. Did
he?
Yeah, he did. He got the shock of the year or something along those lines of beating the streak. I'm sure he did.
What with the fact that he just beat 7 set? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So Rollins then just basically reminds him, oh, well, it doesn't really matter what's going to happen. I've got my Money in the Bank briefcase, and I'll cash in whenever I like. Heyman here is quite nice to Rollins. He says that Lesnar is champion for life. He is essentially champion for life by default because no one can beat him. But Rollins is still the future. The only person stopping that is John Cena. I'd argue that actually Vince McMahon, the puppet master behind Cena, is probably the one, holding back anyone back, on the roster. Because the guy's totally in touch with his
That's
words.
it. He knows exactly what people want.
Exactly. Well, what did we say before about the NXT guys? That there's 2 different glass ceilings. There's one called John Cena, and there's the one above that where you could break out and be the biggest star in the company. He's not going to let you get past the John Cena ceiling.
No.
That's the way it's going to go. Charlotte against Natalya. Here we go. If you guys wanted a rant this episode, you're going to get one. And here we go. What a fucking asinine mistake this was. And I would defend it a little bit. So let's go into what happened anyway, right? Firstly, what a cool moment this must have been for Charlotte. And the video package that they aired to introduce it, I thought was very well done.
Yeah.
So I thought that was okay. Even if I thought it was a little bit on the short side, but no problem. Okay. And it was a good advertisement for the NXT special. And I've said before, and I know you're a big factor of this as well, that we think that NXT should have more time on the main roster, especially leading up to their specials, to sell that over.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they should do much more of that. They've definitely got the wrestling talent in there to do it. By the way, before I get onto my rant, I loved how Charlotte conducted herself throughout this match with Natalya.
Definitely.
I thought that she was extremely vocal, got a really good fan response, and I thought her wrestling was very decent as well. This is where the praise ends. Who the fuck came up with the idea for Natalya to win this match?
Especially with a cheap win.
Yeah. I have no clue. Apparently, through the grapevine, it was Vince's idea to have Natalya win this match. In touch. Okay, right. Definitely. This is just such a stupid idea. First, before I begin, right, I can understand that Charlotte isn't being brought up to the main roster yet. So this loss, maybe when she gets brought up properly, maybe in 6 months or whatever, people really won't remember that much, right? However, Natalya, I also get it as well. If she was going against maybe the Diva, they're having NXT Divas champion against the Divas champion. You'd expect the Divas champion to get the victory because she's getting booked well.
Yeah.
Natalya often is booked like a loser on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman who cannot win the belt, a woman who is constantly in these multi-tag matches, doesn't get time in the ring. Constantly having husband issues, and Charlotte can't beat her.
To use that very loosely, husband issues.
Yeah. I think this is such a stupid idea, because the fact is, no one gives a shit about Natalya, and I mean that honestly. And I like Natalya. I don't like the fact that no one gives a shit about her, but the fact is that no one gives a shit about her. That's honestly right. She's in Total Divas. That's the only real reason why she's on the main relevant, right? Charlotte is a rising star. She should not have to job out to jobbers. Yeah. That's the bottom line. Okay. Natalya often jobs for heel talent. That's the bottom line. So don't job out your future stars to jobbers. It's really stupid. And apparently, what we heard, because as we said before, NXT is Triple H's baby. He didn't want it to go this way. He wanted Charlotte, rightly, to get the victory. I I just think this is a really dumb move. The fans were ready to see Charlotte win. They wanted to see her win. They wanted to see, she came out with the NXT title, representing her brand, and she got beaten by a jobber.
Yeah.
Doesn't sell the NXT brand very well.
I couldn't quite understand it, to be fair.
It just doesn't make sense. It honestly doesn't. Like, Natalya isn't going to get that much from winning this. The way I weigh things up sometimes, right? Sometimes wins and losses don't matter, but sometimes they do. And you have to weigh up, if this person loses, how much damage will be done to him? If this person wins, how much do they get? And you have to weigh it up, right?
Yeah.
Charlotte would get a lot of. I mean, she's already beaten Natalya before for the NXT belt, right? So she's already beaten her before. So beating her on the main roster, that would be something really good for her. Build up NXT, because she's representing that brand. And it wouldn't really damage Natalya that much because people look at her as a, she might just come back next week in a multi-tag match. It's not really that interesting,
That's it.
right?
Mixed tag or like a 6-diva tag match.
We've seen it tons of times, haven't we? Hundreds of those matches. However, one of the, when you look at it in terms of damage and rise, man, there's so much more to be gained by Charlotte winning this match than Natalya winning the match because she doesn't get anything out of winning it. So it was a dumb move. It really was a dumb move, and it's just further fuel. Vince, apparently you're in touch. I disagree.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, I just don't see it. Santino hosts the the OMG Award, as he calls it, the Oh My God Award.
Oh, because Santino is so funny. Oh,
yeah. He's been taking too many lessons from. He's a genuinely funny guy sometimes. Maybe he's been hanging around Larry the Cable Guy too much, but there we are.
I won't do it that time.
Yeah. He says that he witnessed Luke Harper taking a shower, but he's also partial to the Divas taking showers, and then tries to convince us that he's not a shower-wandering Italian hobgoblin.
Yeah. He's not some crazy pervert.
Just like stirring through holes in like showers, and that's just sordid. Ugh. Santino, you dirty bastard.
Dirty pervert.
Dirty pervert. The award does go to Lesnar breaking the streak, so as I was remembering.
There you go, that was one.
There you go.
Yeah.
It also got our moment of the year, so like I said, I can't really fault that. Heyman accepts the award, and he does the usual Heyman stuff you expect it by now. My client, the one behind the blah 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 blah. You know how it goes. You've heard it tons of times. Unfortunately, tons of times when he was managing Cesaro, and that's part of the reason why Cesaro got nowhere. But
yeah, unfortunately, tons of times at the wrong time.
At the wrong times, yeah. Now, Bray Wyatt is out for a promo. He is extremely pissed off. Along the lines that Sister Abigail's chair last week was annihilated. Yeah, destroyed by the hands of Dean Ambrose. And then he gets very heel on the crowd. This is something that he hasn't done at all, really. He's always been like, oh, you can follow me, become one of my flock. He flat out slammed the crowd here.
It's flat out, you know what? Fuck you guys.
Yeah, essentially. Which is, he's often danced. The Bray Wyatt characters often dance. He's actually talked about this on Austin's podcast. It dances between face and heel like a tightrope, and he basically goes backwards and forwards as much as he needs to.
Well, because on that podcast, he also turned around and said that he never really wants to directly target the audience.
Yeah, I thought it was better
because it's just like people can get their own, understanding from it.
Yeah, you can take it as you want to, and I think part of that philosophy in terms of Wyatt's character is part of the reason why a lot of the fans now hold up their phones and do the whole back entrance and everything along those lines.
Yeah.
They want to interact with him because he's not fully heel. Now, I'm not stating that because he's doing this, everything's going to go wrong. It's only a slight thing, but it seems now that the direction that at the very least, this to me is that their creative have come up with the direction now that we want this guy to be full on heel. He ain't going to be dancing that tightrope anymore. He's heel. That's the way it's going to be. And fair enough. We'll hold off judgment for that. But it was cool that we had the Bray Wyatt.
The idea, though.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that we had the Bray Wyatt who was acting like a heel character, but was very good on the mic and got fans going to him. But he was still acting like a heel. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So he says that he'll destroy Ambrose, and he won't allow the crowd to cry for him. That was quite savage. An ambulance rides into the arena, and Ambrose emerges from it, which I would state, logically, is extremely puzzling.
Like, they don't send you ambulances. They don't give you an ambulance to take you home from the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that sort of puzzling thing you were referring to?
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, first of all, right, as you stated there quite eloquently, they don't drop you off. You know, they've got work to do. And if he stole said ambulance, did they just go, "Oh, Ambrose is here with an ambulance. You know what? We'll just let him in."
Especially
Not,
considering if
we
they
might
actually
contact the
allowed
authorities.
that, if they actually allowed it, he must have gone like, "Hold on, guys, I want to quickly stop at Home Depot," because he had like table, ladder, and chairs in the ambulance.
Yeah. That's just sometimes they kind of just ignore the logic with Ambrose, you know, which, you know, is okay at some point. But like him magically appearing underneath a table just randomly. Remember we slammed that, just like him magically escaping from a locked room that had security personnel outside of it, and it was locked. You know, apparently sometimes he can just change things. You know, just.
That's it. Don't forget, man. He's got the Wile E. Coyote like thing you can slap on a wall and create holes.
Exactly. That's his key all along. That's exactly what he can do.
That's how he does it.
Yeah. Was the Acme stuff, isn't he?
That's it.
Beep beep.
It's going to blow up in his face sooner or later.
That's it. Or you know, the only thing I think of now is Rollins opening up that briefcase, you know, and getting splattered and stuff. The amount of little devices that
That's it.
he comes out with. Ambrose goes into the ring, and it's the. Funny enough, last week we had the moment where, I think it was the week before then, somewhere along those lines, where we had Eric Rowan had the stairs bouncing off his head by accident, and it hit him really badly, if you remember, and he was running around, got a big bruise on his head. This means now that Bray Wyatt is the second Wyatt family member to be the victim of a flying weapon landing on them.
He did.
He got hit hard by a flying chair, I believe it was.
That's it.
That rattled his head. He was not happy with that. I tell you what, if that only has to happen one more time, and it happened to Cena, and suddenly you won't see guys flinging stuff over the top rope anymore. They'll be sliding under the bottom rope.
Yeah, that's it. No throwing it.
Yeah. If
you're gonna throw it, it's an underarm throw, not an overarm.
Start getting security tips on how to do it.
That's it.
But I just think it's just happened. So how many times have we seen this stuff? People throwing stuff in the ring. I just think it's just, you know, incidents back to back. It doesn't happen that often. The stairs is the more scary one than the chair, really. But
that's true.
Yeah. Ambrose says
it doesn't straight up crush your skull that way.
Yeah, exactly. Ambrose says the only way Wyatt will leave the arena at TLC is via an ambulance. So is this a TLC ambulance match now? I'm confused.
I think we're reading too far into it.
Yeah, maybe. All I can imagine now is just him like, "Oh, it's a TLC, no disqualification, no holds barred ambulance stretcher match," and it's like, what?
just trying to think of that hurts my mind.
Every stipulation. Just crazy. But I just thought the inclusion of an ambulance is a bit random, but as we said, Ambrose is the king of random on this show. Seth Green does the honours for Lawler this time. He brings him out. He is presenting Diva of the Year. We know Lawler is a fan of the Divas. He's got a little bit hands-on with some of them this year, so we all remember him getting a good feel of Nikki Bella. You know?
Just a touch.
We're going to go into a really dirty joke, but I'll leave it there.
Just the tip.
AJ Lee wins the award. She was our second pick behind Gail Kim, so can't really slam WWE for that. She is the best female wrestler on the main roster. I do think the likes of I still think Paige is actually, you know, on par with her. She's really good. Well, that's what I'm getting at here, and she has been the best in the Ring of the Year. And it's been a shame that I think that her tenure with WWE will emulate that of her husband. I don't think she is going to be that long with the company. I think that her contract will be done and she will be gone very soon.
That'll be it.
Her being on, you know, the UFC stuff just makes me think she's working out the rest of her contract and she's gone. I really think that. Enjoy AJ Lee while she's around, because she ain't going to be winning the belt back, and I think as soon as she doesn't win the belt back, she'll be off TV, she'll be off a contract, and she won't be in anymore. In fact, I think, what was it along the lines, I think CM Punk stated that apparently AJ wanted to look into getting into females UFC herself, so...
really?
I think there's someone, you know, my wife and I are looking to get into this along those lines. I think that was a quote, don't quote me on that, but I just, regardless of that anyway, I just don't think she's sticking around for that long.
No.
You know? It must be a really awkward working relationship for her anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone backstage must be making it can't be making it easy for her.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think she deserves it. Fair enough. But, yeah, I think we are witnessing the twilight of AJ Lee's WWE in career, at very least. That's what I believe, anyway. A lot of people state, oh, she's definitely going to resign. I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I'm not stout.
Yeah. Renee Young is with John Cena. You know, Renee Young and John Cena segments bore me to tears. It isn't worth watching, so I don't need to review it. There you go.
Yeah.
It's sorry guys, it's exactly the same. If basically what it is that it's a platform for Cena to narrate the story to you. WWE, we don't have a memory span of a goldfish. You don't need to keep explaining it to us. We got it. It's not that complicated. Okay?
That's it.
So, yeah, anyway. Cena and Renee Young, you know where this goes. Just skip it. It's boring. It's not really useful. Eric Rowan versus Luke Harper. However, this has the makings of being a really good rivalry, I think.
I was going to say, potential. No.
However, yeah. The really bad thing about this is that as both these men come out, there's absolutely zero fan response. That is scary.
It was a bit worrying, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing. Literally. When Rowan came out, nothing. And that's a little bit worrying. Harper, these guys are getting...
more.
Yeah, a little bit more, but they're getting themselves over as singles talents. It will take time, but it's not a good start when no one is making any sort of reference to what you're doing. That is worrying, I would say.
That's it. Noise? No, you don't get noise.
Yeah. As you say, this match was a bit of a blowout. It wasn't really much of it. There was a lot of that on this show, just a lot of forgettable
stuff. Of course it was.
Stuff.
It's like, oh, and here comes Luke Harper. He's in a ladder match this Sunday, so he's bringing a ladder to the ring.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that's going to get involved.
Yeah. So, yeah, the match ends in DQ, as you say, as Harper throws the ladder into Rowan. Rowan finishes the segment, smacking, his former brethren with the stairs, considering he's on a stairs match at the pay-per-view, which I think is fucking stupid. A stairs match.
Yeah.
To be honest, even the table, not tables matches and ladder matches are fine, but the chairs matches...
I'm not a fan of chairs matches.
Yeah,
do you remember a couple of years ago where you had Batista and The Undertaker in a chairs match?
Yeah.
How fucking terrible was that?
Or was it had Big Show had his big Uber chair? Remember he was fighting? I think was it Brock Lesnar along those lines. I think. Brock Lesnar brought out the big chair or something. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But it's just.
I don't particularly care to remember.
Yeah. At very least, with the ladder, you have to ascend the ladder. With the table, you have to put your opponent through the table. It's a different way of finishing the match. It adds a little bit of drama. With the stairs and
stairs and chairs match, it's just like, just hit him with it.
Just hit him.
It's the only legal weapon. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's really stupid, but there we are. And I just thought a match between these guys.
Someone backstage is patting themselves on the back.
Oh, let's add stairs into it.
Just want you to think about that.
Yeah. There's like I said, when we looked at Rowan against Harper, and we look at that, we think this could be something really special, could be something really interesting. It just wasn't. So I think it was a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. Backstage.
I like Harper's music. Not Harper, Rowan's music.
I do. I just don't think it helps him getting crowd response.
No.
That's what I think. I think that Harper's is a bit better. I don't think a lot of their music really works, but I like the music, but it doesn't get fans on
it doesn't bring a reaction.
Yeah. Backstage, Naomi and Jimmy Uso are talking. Or Jay, I don't know. Sorry. Whenever I try and get over...
And Uso.
Married Uso.
Her husband Uso.
Yeah. He says that the Slammy he got was the second best thing that's happened to him this year. I think he was implying that his wedding was the first, which is fair enough. But dude, you won your first tag team titles this year. They're much more prestigious than a Slammy award.
Yeah.
That's what I would state. Naomi wants to talk
When he was like, this is my second. And what was your first? Winning the tag titles.
oh man, you're in trouble now. And as you know, as a married man, you know the most important thing. Well, you see, it gets more complicated when you have kids because then you have to rank it. You have to be, oh, you know, my kid's being born first.
Was it? Yeah. Was it the wedding or was it the birth?
Yeah, just gets more complicated.
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. So Naomi wants to talk to Mrs. Agent and says that she has a screen test later that week. And then essentially they say, okay, well, we're going to go together to do it. They're building up a little bit of a storyline here, which I do appreciate, at the very least. You can tell Naomi isn't comfortable in this capacity, but it wasn't as if she was bad. She was serviceable.
Yeah.
She's okay. But you can just tell by looking at her, this isn't where she's most comfortable. In a ring is where she's most comfortable. But it's okay. And, you know, the fact is that, you know, they could very easily just be having the Usos against Miz and Mizdow. They go do their thing, and then Naomi's stuck in no man's land, or no woman's land, doing nothing. At least she's somewhat involved.
That's fine. Just, like, we'll bring Maurice back.
Yeah, go for it.
And then we'll just then it'll be, like, a tag team and a wife versus a tag team and a wife.
Yeah, it's something a little bit different at least, but yeah, I think it's okay. I honestly think Naomi's inclusion's fine. Like I said, she isn't great in front of a camera in terms of backstage stuff, but she's okay.
Not the worst I've seen.
It could be a lot worse, yeah, as you say that, Matt. But there we are. Could be you know, Eva Marie, you know, doing her thing.
I'm so glad she hasn't been around for so long.
Yeah, apparently, there's two big reasons that she hasn't come back. But
yeah, one of them's an injury. Apparently, I love this. She's out for injury. Oh, most recent leaked pictures of Eva Marie. Oh.
There we go. That's the
yes,
supposed
injured.
Injury. Yeah. We'll let you guys look that up for yourselves, the reasons why she... Like I said, there's a hint here. Two big reasons.
She has recently acquired
big stuff. Big talent. In the frontal region, shall we say. So we'll leave it there.
She's going to be very good at bumping on her face.
Yeah. She will have something akin to Nikki Bella. You guys are getting where we're going with this, right? Oh my gosh, I just saw who's on the next part. The Black Plague of segments. Adam Rose.
Oh yeah.
The Black Plague, as we like to call it.
It'd be so much better if I hosted. That was a terrible attempt at a South African accent.
It was horrible. Yeah, so he comes out to present the LOL moment of the year.
Lol.
I
don't know.
So he is painful to watch. I think it's probably the best thing. We have slammed him a lot on this show, but man, he's just bad. So they're going for what was the funniest moment or the funniest person. Mizdow gets the award. Well deserved. I'm nickname for Mizdow is the Wizard because he can turn shit into gold.
The fact that we were so judgmental a few months back, and I know one of our fans was just like, I quite like it.
They're like,
sorry for ever doubting you.
Yeah, he made it work. Like I said, he's a wizard. He turns shit into gold. That's our nickname for him, the Wizard, and he does deserve it. He goes to accept it, then Miz gives the speech instead, taking all the credit. And then when he looks like he's going to actually give credit back to Sandow, he's like, actually, no, it's to my money maker.
I'll tell you what, bravo. Like, Miz now. That's what you have. I'm here. I was like, bravo.
I thought it was a great little acceptance speech by Miz. I thought he plays his role almost as well as Mizdow plays his role. They just work off each other. I'm guessing those guys sit backstage and they must be thinking, we could do this, and they're banging ideas back and forth. Like what do we say before? In terms of this act, Mizdow is Michael Jordan and Miz is Scottie Pippen. He is setting up Jordan to make those slam dunks all day long, and that's exactly how this dynamic works. Miz has to set up Mizdow to get that reaction, and he doesn't get as much praise, I think, than is warranted.
And I completely understood that reference.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
The way you were talking slow there, just because... Yeah.
Flashbacks.
That's it. So, Rusev then is out. Lana wastes no time at taking her usual shots at Murica. She says the real Americans are the real laugh out louds of the year. Swagger comes out, and apparently, For all the times that we heard Swagger after he got beaten by Rusev, who was the one person slamming him the most, Matt? You know who it is.
No. Won't admit it.
No, right? So, the one guy that was blowing a gasket, saying this guy was...
Yeah,
nothing.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just like, the WWE won't accept this. It's like, no, it never happened.
Yeah.
Swagger and Rusev have never rivaled before. It's all brand new.
And suddenly JBL...
JBL just like, he's a hero of America. 3 months ago, that doesn't matter what I said then, hero of America. Stand up and salute the hero of America.
Come on, JBL was fucking condemning this guy. He wanted him exported.
Like, Jesus Christ, if JBL had his way, Swagger's name would have been on the deport list.
Yeah, was it 380 million people he let down? I don't want to look at him anymore. He's a disgrace to our country. 3 months later, he is the hero of our people. It's like, come on, dude, come on. But yeah, he's back on the Swagger bandwagon. Oh god. And then literally, what they're going to do here is that they're going to rehash the entire feud that they had.
That's it.
They're doing it again.
Remember a few months back? We're going to hit rewind on that shit.
Yeah, we're going to do it exactly again. Guys, this just shows that WWE, the 3-hour concept, and I do blame the 3 hours a lot because I do think it's a lot to do with what they're doing. They're out of ideas. They don't know what else to do. They've obviously got a long-term plan for Rusev. They just don't know what to do with him in the meantime. So they're like, well, you know what? He hasn't worked with Swagger for the last couple of months. Let's just do that again. Guys, come on.
Have a rinse, repeat.
Yeah. It's like we're watching a rerun here, of the show. So, Swagger here, they fight for a little bit after, apparently Zeb has had his leg broken by Rusev, so Swagger's trying to break his ankle. Rusev's ankle, that would be quite bad if he was trying to break Zeb's ankle as well. But
the other one.
Yeah. He shows... It just shows that they're trying to tie Rusev over, and they're just gonna This feud ain't gonna. It just doesn't work. It's just already been done. Nah. It's just recycled garbage, unfortunately. It worked the first time because it made sense, but you don't go into a rivalry, lose, and then suddenly, oh wait, he could do it again. And people are gonna look at this and just be like,
yeah, but we didn't have Sergeant Slaughter last time, so
I know, but. Fucking, this is just it's recycled stuff, and they've got no excuse for it, right? Look at the talent pool that they have. They could put anyone against him, even if they technically didn't do a full feud with Sheamus and Rusev. They'd had one match, and then they never had the rematch.
Oh yeah,
they could technically do as much as I
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Where is Sheamus?
I think he's gone on holiday. He must have had his time off or something.
It's been a very long holiday.
Yeah.
Not that I'm missing him.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, he never really had a full feud with the guy, so you could technically still do that if you wanted to. Just don't go back to what you've done. Like, come on, it's ridiculous. But here we are. Rusev.
It just dawned on me that I've only just realised that Sheamus has been missing.
Yeah,
says a lot about Sheamus.
It does. Yeah. Or was it without direction? Was his sin? Shall we say on the show? But
yeah.
So Rusev, they're just going to keep tying him over. I do firmly believe that the guy that will beat him will be John Cena. So when John Cena gets free, probably in the next couple of months, maybe he might even face the guy at WrestleMania. We don't know. But yeah, he's just being saved. They're just going to keep feeding him guys maybe that he's already beaten. Although he's I doubt he's going to be going against the Big Show and Henry because they've both gone heel. But yeah. That's the way it's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if they just get Zack Ryder to go back in and just fucking he eats him for the next 2 months.
That's it. Just alternate between like Ryder and Slater.
Just add Swagger again for the third time.
That's it.
Usos and Ryback against Kane, The Miz, and Mizdow. Seth Green is on commentary. He could say nothing, and he would still be better than Larry the Cable Guy. He was better than Larry the Cable Guy, but...
Cable Guy! I couldn't let it go that time.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say, though, about Seth, though, is that he looked like he was a fan. He didn't really look like he was there to entertain. That's fair enough.
It's like Seth being awfully quiet. That's because he's actually watching the match.
Yeah, he's taking selfies and stuff like that. But the You think Seth Green, he's a funny guy, but man, when you've got Mizdow doing his thing in a wrestling ring, he ain't gonna be. Seth Green just ain't gonna be the funniest guy.
He suplexed himself.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I'm just thinking about that now. The Wizard, he turns shit into poo. Shit into poo, shit into gold. Sorry.
I was gonna say, what's the difference between shit and poo?
Shit into gold. And I thought the match was alright. It was okay. It wasn't too bad. Ryback gets the victory with the shell shock, and they had plenty of time during the match to play out the Naomi factor of the Mizdow and Usos rivalry that they're doing alongside.
Yeah.
So, yeah, afterwards, Seth Green tries to raise Ryback's hand in victory, but he's just not strong enough. And he just looks tiny next to
I think he's not strong enough, and then he realised that by the time he's actually lifted it to what's essentially level with Ryback's shoulder, that's probably the maximum reach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, Ryback looked at him as if, oh, you'll make a nice snack. Just nom nom nom.
Feed me, Seth Green.
But then afterwards, he gets risen up by the Usos, and Green did look out of sorts. I much preferred his when he was guest host last time. He just kind of looked a little bit out of place. But considering the pedigree of shit guest hosts that are around him, he was not nearly as offensive as a lot of them were. You know, he didn't take up a lot of time. You know, huh?
Tota.
Yeah. Oh God, let's not go back to that.
Could have danced.
Let's do a crazy dance. Crazy. But yeah, Seth Green, he's alright. He's okay. However, one guy who belongs in the pantheon of all-time wrestling greats, I am a huge admirer of this guy, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, a.k.a. the man that time forgot. He could be 101 years old.
Jesus
and still
Christ, yeah, he probably still look 40.
Yeah. He obviously he's getting on a bit now, Steamboat, but Jesus Christ, I just remember the matches he had with Jericho. You know, quite a few years ago now, but
where Jericho was sort of like fuck the legends.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, he was so good in that WrestleMania match that they gave him a rematch on like Backlash or something along those lines where they had it all Extreme Rules. And man, he was brilliant then. He was so good because class is permanent. That's the way it goes. And he is one of the all-time greats. And he is a hugely pivotal guy to hand out the Match of the Year award. Because man, if you guys haven't watched Ricky the Dragon Steamboat matches, especially the ones that he had at Mania against the likes of Randy Savage, one that a lot of people point to as being one of the all-time great matches, go watch it now.
That's it.
Jesus Christ.
Just pause the video. We'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait here. While you go.
We're going anywhere.
He's had what is it? I like to call it some humdingers in other matches. Oh, he's a different class, man. So our match of the year, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts since we did our awards. We did our awards a lot earlier than a lot of people, but I've listened to a few, and it seems unanimous. It seems unanimous that Shield against the Wyatts at Elimination Chamber is a lot of people's matches of the year. So it's not just us. That match was not. Been. Yeah, that match wasn't even nominated in the WWE Slammy Awards for the Match of the Year. And when you look at some of the other ones that they had alongside it, it boggles you a little bit. Like Bray Wyatt against Cena, Last Man Standing match.
Oh, okay. That was a terrible match.
It was okay, like it was right, but it was nowhere near Wyatt's against the Shield. Absolutely, like Wyatt's against the Shield is better than Evolution against the Shield. I just don't get it, but there we are. But also, guys, you have to remember also that last year, Match of the Year was Rock versus Cena 2, which was awful. You know, it was...
Yeah.
Oh, the last 10 minutes of that match, I'm going to hit you with a finisher. No, I'm not. I'm going to reverse. I'm going to hit you with my finisher. Oh, I kicked out of your finisher. Now I'll get up and... Oh, God, it's just... They ran out of ideas.
I'm going to hit you with your own finisher.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare you do that? Oh, you're such a terrible human being.
Yeah, it was bad. It was not a good match. So what won this one was Team Authority versus Team Cena. Fair enough. That was probably our second. Well, there was a lot of close to that.
Do you know what? I actually enjoy. I think it's another one of those things where it's like it won. Yeah, but it didn't win because of the match. It won because
Oh, the stipulation, yeah.
Because of the stipulation and the fact that Sting got involved.
Well, if you look at that, I think that you've got two huge singles matches this year, with one common factor being
I'd
part
have
of
much
it.
rather seen it go to Shield versus Evolution.
Yeah, but when you think of actual matches in terms of like obviously like I said, the Shield Whites one as well as the sort of the build up to it, and the match itself was excellent. But when you look at actual in ring ability, I think there's two matches, both of them being on NXT, that you have to look at, which is Zayn against Cesaro and Zayn against Neville, the match we just watched. So Sami Zayn, man, it's just a walking match of the year candidate right there.
That's it.
But yeah, as we said, yeah, it was a good match, the Cena Authority Survivor Series match, and it was a great 70 minutes of television, but I just thought Whites and Shield was much, much better.
But no, that match didn't exist this year, apparently.
Yeah, didn't even get nominated, which I thought was a big shock. Man, was it Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan match at the
Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble didn't get mentioned. I thought that was a huge match. I thought that was brilliant. I thought the way they did that, but still, no, apparently not. AJ Lee against Summer Rae. Like I said, AJ Lee not long for the company. That's what I believe. A very quick, forgettable match. I mean, a very quick, forgettable match. It was, you could blink and you could barely see it. AJ wins, and like I said, it was so quick. Why would these guys even want to get into their ring gear?
That's it. They may as well just fight it out in their street clothes.
Yeah, just go home. Then you're not wasting your own time, because this is obviously wasting ours. But RVD presents Extreme Moment of the Year. The guy just looks weird outside of a singlet. I'm just gonna say that. It just looks strange. But he was looking suitably dapper, so that's okay. And the Extreme Moment of the Year, which is something I have to hugely disagree with, Chris Jericho jumping off the cage wins the award. And then I realised yet another thing wasn't nominated, which I would go for Extreme Moment of the Year, which was Ambrose and Rollins falling off of the cell and going through two tables.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty extreme. I think that's what I would have picked, personally. But
I mean, the one thing is, like, Jericho jumped off a cell. Well, Cody did a moonsault off the cell.
yeah, this year, no less.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just don't know what's going on with that. But there we go. That's what we're going for. I'm not slamming Chris Jericho for jumping on the cell. It was awesome. I thought it was brilliant. But come on, you had two guys that jumped off of a Hell in a Cell through two tables, you know? And they weren't jumping off the cell. They were halfway out. But still, you know what I mean? That was mental, and that was very extreme. You know, these guys getting carted off, you know, in stretchers and all that lot. So Fandango comes out really randomly, just because he wrestled Jericho once. So he just picks up the award on his behalf. And then he does his thing with his acceptance. He manages to talk as if he's literally on the brink of ejaculation. Yeah, he's right there. Right, and if he moves too much or speaks too loud, he will cream his pants. It looks like when he's gyrating, he's trying to keep the sperm from exiting said area. The guy just sounds like he's yeah. It's not, that's the best way to explain it.
I suppose.
Yeah, maybe Rosa just seems super into. Maybe maybe something can be said there. But yeah, he's just like he looks like he's had a bit of fun time before he's come out, and he's just trying to hold it in.
Super sexy airtime.
Fandango. Yeah, but still. Mick Foley. Oh, sorry, I mean Santa Claus.
Saint Mick.
Saint Mick.
Sorry, but just like you take one look at that mouth and you're like, oh, there's about 8 teeth in it.
Let me look at your ear. Where's your ear? Oh, it's not there. Okay, fair enough. He says he loves all the boys and girls who have the WWE Network more. What an evil fucker. Sorry, does he not love my children? Okay, just because we can't get the network? Fuck you, Santa. Fuck you. I've got good girls.
That's it.
Fuck you, man. Ugh. Just because we don't have the network. Jesus Christ. What an evil guy this is, you know?
That's it. All these dying kids in Africa, it's like, nope, fuck yes.
On Christmas Eve...
Nick doesn't care about you.
On Christmas Eve, I'm going to leave a giant turd on a plate. And there you go, you can eat that.
That's it, because Saint Mick doesn't love me.
Yeah, exactly. Because we don't have the network. Yeah. Anyway, jokes aside, Foley is God. Yeah, he's brilliant.
That's it. And of course, he had to be Saint Nick.
Yeah. And I don't know if... I know last week he had his daughter actually with him on the actual segment. I don't know if it was his daughter with him this week. I'm not sure. I can't say I'm sure. But that's kind of cool, isn't it? That he had his daughter with him.
Yeah.
And it definitely gets her looks from her mother's side. I think that is
That's
safely
safe to
assured.
say.
Yeah. Renee Young is with the Big Show backstage. I'm secretly hoping that he's going to pull another facial expression.
To go back onto that Saint
Yeah.
I didn't quite like the whole, and that's the bottom line, because Saint Mick said so? No, because Stone Cold said so. Don't want to go stepping on gimmick here.
Yeah.
I was like, hee.
Yeah. Oh, Foley's brilliant in these segments. Like, he owns it. He's so good. However, he is not a man of 1,000 heel turns. That belongs to the Big Show, the man of 1,000 heel turns. And he has words about his stairs match with Eric Rowan. He's still pissed that the fans call him a traitor after making a mistake. You know, he just made a mistake. I'm pretty sure Oscar Pistorius follows a similar philosophy.
Okay.
I just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you murdered someone.
No biggie, just made a mistake.
That's it.
You know, just
oh, sorry, like, I know your daughter's dead and that lot, but, sorry. My bad.
So, yeah, so when all I can think of that is just like, oh, yeah, I made a mistake, but I said I'm sorry. It's like, okay, you didn't kill someone. Obviously, that's going a little overboard. We're making, you know, but still, I just thought of Oscar Pistorius just go, oh, I'm sorry, Judge, just made a mistake. I don't know why you're so pissed at me. I just made a mistake.
That's it.
Whoopsie. Booker T presents Superstar of the Year. The winner, apparently, was, I just don't understand why, is Roman Reigns.
No, I didn't get that.
I guess that made him look really strong.
Yeah.
I'd actually currently rank, and it's not really his fault, because he's had his injury and that's really stifled him at the end of this year. But I would rank Reigns currently at the bottom of the Shield lot for this year.
Yeah.
Not stating that I still think he's the chosen one. I still think he'll go on. He's probably going to beat Lesnar for the belt. That's the way I see it.
That's it.
But the injury took no favours, and it took 3 months roughly off of his time, and that's a lot of time in a year.
Yeah.
Since SummerSlam, he's been out. Reigns was actually on the show here. He did not appear via fake satellite. He was actually on the, actually.
I know.
Some people slammed him for his acceptance speech. I thought he was fine, honestly.
I was happy with it.
Yeah, but another thing here that you just know that these things are a farce. I guarantee you, like, if it was really chosen by the fans, then I'm pretty sure they probably would have gone with Ambrose if they were choosing, you know. But they wanted, as we said, Roman Reigns to look strong, so they gave him the thing. I'm absolutely sure that that's the way they went along those lines. Absolutely sure.
Don't forget, make Roman look strong.
Make Roman Reigns look strong. That's the creed that must be done here. Here we go. Main event: John Cena against The Big Show. This was a bad match. It was.
Oh, he skipped the match.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. It was
boring.
I know. And you know it anyway, as you say that. It was painfully slow. It only picked up towards the end, and that was because that's when the DQ finished. And then what happened last week? With the really nonsensical, people just running in, reminded me of the whole TNA sort of stuff. We're just having more people coming into this promo that we're doing, and it just keeps going on, but not going anywhere. The end of this show had pretty much the same thing. It was a bit random, right? So 2 people are fighting, and suddenly someone else gets involved, right? And then they're fighting someone that they're not in a rivalry with, and then the person that they're with a rivalry with comes and stops them. But then someone comes and stops them who's not involved in said rivalry. It just makes no sense. It just
reading into it.
Yeah.
So I've got to stop now.
Yeah, it was just boring. I'm just gonna say this right now. I've seen this segment before.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it again, and to me, it doesn't really get me that excited. I'm not going to go into all the things that happened. I'll say at the end, Ziggler went through a table, Rollins curb stomped Cena, and then put him through an announcement table. So the heels stood tall strong at the end, right? Yeah. Hopefully this is the end of these clusterfuck, kind of going nowhere brawls that happen. And like I said, it does remind me a lot of TNA. That's the problem with it. It reminds me of that really bad episode of TNA that we had that I just unanimously slammed. It's not as bad as that, but it's not really fun. Well, you know where it's going when all these guys are just running in, and it just ends up being a brawl. But there we are. So that's the end of the show. Like I said, you quit out at that point, and you're like, I'm going to watch me some NXT, and NXT burned away the Slammy Awards for you.
That's it.
So.
I mean, I watched all of Raw, and then I watched NXT. I watched the first hour yesterday, and the last hour today. And as a result, it's like, Raw happened? Really? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, but NXT is just like the greater product. I don't care if I'm going to get criticised for it or anything, but it's
I don't think many people would criticise you for it, because when you've got something that good next to something that's very mundane.
I mean, it's not like on, oh, it's just because it was an event. No, it doesn't even have to be just an event. Like, it will always be good.
Yeah.
Even the weekly NXT, which is an hour, which is easier to watch.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah, that's it. My thoughts for this show. So it's the go-home show for TLC and the Slammy. So it provided a distraction from what could have been a very boring Raw. And a very bad set of Raws. Was this better than the weeks before? It was, but only for the reasons that it was the Slammies, and they kind of gave us a little bit of a clip show sort of mentality, so we can kind of relive some of these moments that were good throughout the year. But it shows to me more and more, week after week, and I'm seeing it more and more, WWE are struggling to fit in to actually pack out a 3-hour show. They are really struggling. I think it's because they're
struggling, like, at the moment, they're just worrying about the one rivalry, like the 4 current rivalries, but it's just, I don't know, it's still not enough to fill the time.
Yeah, to me, I think that this show, they're running out of ideas because they have to fit out a 3-hour show. That is incredibly hard to do week in, week out. When Vince said that, and he says, "Oh, we do 3 hours," no one does 3 hours. There's a reason why no one does 3 hours, because it kills your show. You can't do it. It just doesn't work. And I would sit there and I was
we're so critical of it now. We're going to be going to watch a 3-hour Raw.
Well, oh yeah, I know. We're going to see that live anyway. But you know what I mean.
That's different.
In terms of like of watching it as a product on a television, 3 hours. It's incredibly hard to make 3 hours worth watching, and you'd have to do it very good. WWE aren't succeeding. 3 hours is killing their show. It really is. It's the quality of it is just slowly declined as the year has gone. And hopefully things will pick up now as going into WrestleMania season. But 3 hours, they need to stop 3 hours. They have.
I mean, that's the thing. Sort of, you say hopefully it'll pick up going into WrestleMania season. So sort of that sort of thing I'm hoping out for, where it's just like, well, it'll be the WrestleMania Revenge Tour. Yeah. So hopefully it will be good.
Hopefully, yeah. Or they have that WrestleMania hangover again that they had last year, but let's not think of that. We want it to be good because we're going to see that show. Oh yeah, we haven't even announced that yet.
We haven't even mentioned it, no.
Yeah, we'll announce that now. We'll give our thoughts on this show anyway. Like I said, was it better than the last few weeks? It was, not by much. That's the issue. And the last.
I think it's like you said. I think it's the only reason it was better than previous shows was because we had flashbacks of stuff that has happened previously in the year, which was good.
There wasn't a good wrestling match on this show, which was a bit of a shame. And I like I said, I do give it a little bit more of a pass because it is the Slammies and it's a bit more of an event. But still, I'd expect at least one high quality match, but there was none. So there we are. So let's talk about it before going into the predictions. We are going to be attending a live Raw in London.
Yes.
It's the only live Raw in London, so next year. Me and Matt will be there. We'll be there live, and we'll be able to watch it there. We'll give obviously our review after we've seen it on TV as well to get the kind of thoughts on there as well. But we're going to be there. We're going to be all shirted up and along those lines. We'll obviously give more details on those times. But really,
if I don't just blow all my budget on merch.
Yeah. So if you see an internet being, as we always call you, but no, obviously, if you see a man with a cane that has a Let's Talk Wrestling shirt on, chances are it's going to be me. If you're there around there, say hi to us. I think it's the easiest way to say hi. We'll be happy to give you a chat, take a few pictures. And we know some of our fans are English, so maybe you are going to that show. I know that show's, it's quite interesting.
Especially considering it is Raw, so it's not like, it's the house show.
It's the live Raw. You know what I mean? It's the well, I say live. It's the show.
Televised Raw.
It's the televised Raw. In the O2. So, if you see us there, like I said, don't be afraid to. We'll obviously notify us more and more. We get more subscribers each day, so we have to keep them more aware. But if you do see us along the lines, we are getting shirts done, so we're actually going to bring shirts. We're going to get our first shirt done. Me and Matt are going to wear it up to the actual show. So if you do see us around, then give us a shout, and we'd be more than happy to converse with you. So that'd be awesome. Prediction time. Here we go. Predictions. We did pretty well, I'd say. Last pay-per-view.
I did better.
You did better by one, but I think we did well.
Better, still better.
Yeah. So there's a lot more matches on this show because basically they split up.
Yeah, because we don't have an hour and a half for a Survivor Series match.
Yeah. Which may be making the show worse, but obviously we hope that the NXT stuff has forced these guys to go, okay, we actually need to do a really good match here. The one thing
they usually do.
Yeah. The one thing I say about this match is that it lacks a star draw match. And I don't want that to say, oh, well, are you slamming Seth Rollins? Well, Seth Rollins is still in the rise. I still think he does. Oh, I've stated on the show that he is main event. But when you think of like main event, at a pay-per-view, you're hoping the fact you've got someone like a Brock Lesnar there. I know he's not involved, but someone of huge, who's a main event star.
You want someone to draw.
Yeah, it's just this show. It doesn't really have that. It doesn't have a world title match. They're kind of filling in stuff, and because of the predictability, then the fact that a lot of these matches kind of are easy to call. Unfortunately, but we'll go into that there. So we'll go to the Divas match first. Nikki Bella against AJ Lee. Nikki Bella. Yeah, I'm with the same with you. I'm
not even going to justify or argue it. It's just it's Nikki.
It's Nikki. I will justify and argue it. I don't see AJ hanging around. I've said that plenty of times on this podcast.
That's it.
That's it. And why would she win the belt when I think she's going to be leaving? There we are. Stardust and Goldust against New Day.
In the pre-show.
I say New Day.
Yeah, New Day, because they're not exactly going to shit on the rise of an up-and-coming tag stable already.
They're still new. They'll get wins because they're still new, even though they have already lost, but still.
Ooh, Day.
Be interesting to see who wrestles, and I'd like to see Big E in the ring personally, but there we are.
Big E and Xavier.
Big E, I say Big E and Kofi. I like Xavier on the outside. I don't think Xavier's got much to give in the ring, but there we are. Yeah. Hopefully you can prove me wrong on that. Usos against the Miz and Mizdow. Miz and Mizdow to win this.
Yep,
to retain. I state here what will most likely happen is that Naomi will cause an unintentional distraction for her, her husband, which will lead to the finish of the match.
You need to get out of my head.
Is that what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, I was thinking, and then there'll be a disqualification.
Yeah.
And then it'll just go into a kerfuffle.
Yeah, that's how I see it go. Yeah.
And then maybe we can get Maurice back.
I wouldn't mind seeing Maurice back.
And then we can have a 6-way gender match sort of thing.
Yeah. They could add it to Miz's sort of gimmick and have Mizdow there. You've got a little bit of a stable you can run with there or something along those lines. And it would get over. I mean, come on, Maurice is drop dead gorgeous. So having Maurice alongside the Miz kind of gives them a little bit of credibility.
Gives them the edge. Yeah.
Exactly. Rusev versus Jack Swagger for the United States Championship.
Rusev.
Yeah, an absolute no-brainer. Anyone could call this. My 5-year-old could call this match. It's Rusev. Rusev will win. It would be a real shock if Jack Swagger won. I'd just be like, oh, you fucking idiot. Nah, it's Rusev that win. Rowan against Big Show in a stairs match.
Rowan.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't go for Rowan. I'm going Big Show for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going.
I don't care, to be honest. I'm finding it really difficult to actually sort of care about this match.
No, I agree with you. I agree. It's a bit random.
I'm finding it really difficult to care about many of the matches.
Yeah, the next one as well. I'm the same along. But the reason I think Big Show is that I think they have more stock in Big Show than they do Rowan. So I think maybe what happened along the lines of the fact. I think it'll be close, or maybe Big Show cheats or something along those lines, or maybe it's just like a very cheap victory. But I do see Big Show getting the win. You know, that's the way it goes.
Fair enough.
But you go with Roman. At least that'd be interesting. Big Red. I could definitely see him winning. I'm just going with a Big Show. I just think they're going.
Yeah.
This one's much easier. Ryback versus Kane. Ryback to win. Yeah, it'd be a moronic move otherwise. In a chairs match. Yeah. Exciting. This match will be boring. I'm telling you that now. Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. I will state here that Bray Wyatt will be getting the victory.
Yeah.
Ambrose has been...
I don't see it being the end.
No, this will be the second stage of their rivalry. The way that I see this happening is that Ambrose has been booked really strong in this rivalry. Bray has had very little kind of to brag about. In his scuffle, Ambrose has been the top guy. You know, along those lines, the match that they were supposed to have before it had DQ, Ambrose annihilated Wyatt. You know, so I do see this, however, being a clean victory. I see that Bray Wyatt getting the win, and obviously he's going to be clean because there's no disqualification. But I don't see anyone coming in and screwing out Dean Ambrose. I think Wyatt will beat him, and that'll be the way it is. I'm
still trying to figure out what's meant to be hanging over the ring.
I don't think it is. I think it'll be pinfall. That's the way I reckon it'll go.
Okay, so TLC is in that is you can use everything, but it's going to be a pinfall victory.
What's so stupid about that though, right? Is that when you've got a stairs or a chairs match, and you can't get DQ'd for that. Well, what the fuck is stopping you from going out and grabbing a ladder? Like that makes no sense to me.
No, you can get DQ'd for that.
Oh, so pedantic.
It's the weapon of the stipulation that is the legal weapon.
I think it's stupid anyway, the way it's done.
It's like playing Call of Duty and it's pistols only.
Or slappers only on GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Slappers only. But are you going with Wyatt as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly I think there's got to be a time that Wyatt gets a victory, and Ambrose has been booked to look very strong so far, and Wyatt hasn't. I think it's Wyatt's time to get a win. That's the way it's.
That's it.
John Cena against Seth Rollins. My pick here is John Cena to win.
Because Golden Boy's not going to lose his title shot.
Definitely not. Vince wants another Lesnar-Cena match, and the only reason why this match is made is because he can't have it now. They need to wait another month.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why Cena and Lesnar will be fighting each other. Lesnar actually is going to appear on the Raw after TLC, so that's going to be he's going to make his return because he hasn't been on TV for months.
On the fucking thing.
Yeah.
He got gifted it.
Yeah. So
no, he wasn't. Yeah, no, because he had his title defense.
He has title defense. I think he showed up on the show afterwards, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't been back since. And they've had a lot of months without him being there, so he's going to build up towards his match with John Cena at the Royal Rumble. And that's the way I see it going there. But Seth Rollins ain't winning this match. John Cena will be going forward and having that match. Vince wants it. Vince will get what he wants, regardless whether it's actually best for business, because he's not really in touch.
That's it.
I don't want to see Cena Lesnar 3. I'm sorry. I'd much rather see someone else.
The worst part is the fact that, obviously, we've both listened to the podcast with Austin and Vince, and it's just I was like, oh, I like to think I'm still in touch. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Oh no, he's definitely not.
From it.
He's not in touch. What I think one of the things I said in that podcast, I said, is the funny thing about people who aren't in touch is that they still think they're in touch, and he obviously still thinks that he knows what people want. Often than not, he doesn't, and I think the Daniel Bryan thing is the biggest tell of that. Is that he probably wanted something, he wanted Orton and Batista, in that main event. But the fans told him outright, no, that's not what we wanted. I think overwhelming fan response changed that match. I think, and I think that is the biggest implication that Vince. Or was it that Vince said, oh, they've got women fighting in UFC now, and thinks it's so alien and horrible and stupid, and it's one of the most hottest things that are going around. I don't mean in terms of the women. The women are pretty good looking, but in terms of people wanting to watch it, it's really in right now. Women's UFC fighting.
That's it. For some reason, we want to see women punch each other.
Yeah. You and me watched women's UFC fights years ago. We went to Wembley, remember, to watch
We did.
A beautiful Turkish woman get her facial features rearranged.
Just mashed.
But you know, it's getting hard with Ronda Rousey leading it and stuff. But that's the kind of stuff that you realise that Vince just doesn't know. He's not in touch, and so you know, maybe it's not even his fault. The guy is he's getting on a bit. You know, was it almost 70? You know, so
Pushing that mark, yeah.
yeah, like you wouldn't expect a guy that age to be in touch. It's just the way it is. But he still thinks he is, and that denial kind of damages things. But there we are. So there are predictions. The one that we've got different is Rowan and Big Show. So at least that'll be a little bit different.
It's different, but it's not like
you're not going to be that excited regardless, you know.
No, it's a Big Show match. I'm sorry. I'd be kind of happy to hear, oh, Big Show's retiring. I'd kind of actually be happy to hear that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the way.
Like, I'm a 7 foot, 500-pound giant. Yes, we've heard that before. You're the Big Show. Otherwise, why would we call you the Big Show?
Remember, Matt, he just made a mistake. Okay. Just like Pistorius, man. He just made a mistake.
That's it.
Guys, I think that's us for this episode. Awesome to be podcasting back again. I will admit, because we missed the week, I felt a little bit odd. I didn't know if we're going to be back on form, but solid.
Yeah, it seems to.
Yeah,
just changed.
That's it. Yeah. Nothing. We're back on form. Level 54. Sorry, episode 54. It's like a game that we're playing here. So thanks you guys for listening to this week's episode. It was strange that we didn't put an episode last week and we still got some new subscribers. So thank you for joining along anyway. I'm not sick anymore. Maybe it's our back catalogue that are getting some of the guys in. But we are very close to hitting 170 subscribers. It is weird considering it was less than 20 episodes ago. I'm sure I was saying, oh, we're getting close to 100 now. It looks like we're going to break that pretty easily.
Blossomed really well.
Yeah. And it's all down to you guys supporting the show, asking us questions. And I did really enjoy all the feedback that we got from the announcement last week that I wasn't going to be on. It kind of perked me up after being so sick after that time. The well wishes. I did read all.
After every 5 minutes of just like, oh, sorry, Matt.
That's it. You can follow our Twitter handle at TalkWrestlePod. Matt posts up jokes and stuff like that, and his thoughts on NXT, including Jim Ross doing his bedtime.
Dude, that was the best picture. It's like I had to put it up on
We
Twitter.
can't explain how good it is. Just follow us on Twitter and you'll see what we're talking about. It's one of the latest tweets. But yeah, we'd like to thank you guys for sticking around with the show this week. If you did enjoy it, then if you can like it and share it along social media to get it out to people, really appreciate that support. If you're new to the podcast, then subscribe. That way you won't miss any episodes. We are getting an extra one done next week for the pay-per-view. And apart from that, I'm fit as a horse and I'm not going anywhere time soon. And we're back in business.
That's it.
Oh yeah, Honky Tonk Matt. Will you play us out of here, Honky Tonk Matt?
No.
No. Okay.
Sorry. I'm not doing that.
We'll talk to you guys next week.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye bye.